Last week, you had names like Josh Allen, Jamar Chase, Jordan Addison, and Zach Charbonnet go nuclear in fantasy football, and they helped people get into the playoffs and win their matchups. You might have been out of the playoffs because of these guys. Well, in today's video, I'm bringing you 10 names that should do the same here in week 1 of the fantasy playoffs. In week 15, numero uno, let's talk about James Conner. We've talked about how good his playoff schedule is for months now, and we finally get to reap the rewards of that if you own James Conner, or maybe you're putting together a DFS lineup. I don't know what the case may be, but he faces the Patriots. Patriots are the 10th best matchup for your fantasy running back this year. I mean, we can go back and remember Jordan Mason, the days when he was starting for CMC. He had over 160 total yards and 24 fantasy points. Joe Mixon averaged almost 8 yards per carry, 2 tuds, 27 points. Then in the same game, Dameon Pierce went out there, averaged almost 10 yards per carry, and got into the end zone as well. Tank Bigsby had his best ever day as a pro, almost 24 points against this defense. Tony Pollard went crazy. Jonathan Taylor, who's been extremely unreliable, had one of his few good days in the past 4, 5, 6 weeks. If you have a running back against this team, they have typically gone off this week. Now, here's the good news for James Conner and this entire Cardinals offense. They are almost a full touchdown favorites at home against the New England Patriots. I love Drake May, but a rookie-led New England Patriots likely going to be able to establish the run deep into the third and fourth quarter. And they're also tied for the third highest implied team point total on the week with 26 total points. They're almost implied for 4 total touchdowns worth of points. I do believe we see James Conner get some of that action. I'm predicting at least 20 touches, 100 plus all-purpose yards, and 18 plus PPR points. Come on, James. It's your time to turn it on, baby. All right, the second player, and this might surprise y'all off the bat here. Adam Thielen. That's right. I'm hooked on a Thielen, not phonics. And we are definitely trusting Adam with our playoff hopes on the line. He faces the Dallas Cowboys. It's at home. Dallas is the 12th best matchup for your fantasy wide receiver when you adjust for schedule. I mean, in the last 3 weeks alone, Terry McLaurin, it was that like long bomb, Hail Mary touchdown type of vibes, but he had over 100 yards, a touchdown, over 21 points. It shows a weakness in that defense. Malik Neighbors caught 8 catches for 69 yards, a safe 15-point floor. Jamar Chase, just, on Monday Night Football, had almost 200 yards, 2 tuds, over 45 points. For a lot of you guys, Jamar Chase was either reason you got into the playoffs or you were kicked out. I'm sorry if that's you. But the Cowboys defense this year, it's fallen apart. They're top 12 in passing yards allowed per game. They're top 8 in total yards allowed per game, and they give up the second most offensive points per game. They give up 4 full touchdowns worth of points, over 28. I'm predicting Adam Thielen, who, by the way, has been going crazy in these last 2 weeks, averaging over 10 targets per game, averaging over 100 receiving yards per game. I'm predicting over 10 targets. I'm predicting 80 yards and at least 15 PPR points. All right, that week for Malik Neighbors we saw against this defense, that is Adam Thielen's floor outcome this week versus the Dallas Cowboys. Can't believe we're saying this with playoffs on the line, but we are. All right, that takes us to my spicy, hot, bold take of the week. Are you ready to get hot? You ready to get spicy in this thing? Okay, well, Jameis Winston and David Njoku are about to go nuclear in week 15 versus the intimidating, ever intimidating Kansas City Chiefs defense. Jameis is going to finish top 12 as a quarterback, and David Njoku will finish as the tight end 1 overall in week number 15. So excited about both of these names. The good news is Kansas City's defense, it's really starting to fall apart these last 4 or 5 weeks. They are currently the 10th best matchup for your quarterback, and they're middle of the pack against tight ends. But we've seen decent quarterbacks and even mediocre quarterbacks be good against the Kansas City Chiefs. For example, Aiden O'Connell recently had 340 yards, 2 touchdowns. For Aiden O'Connell, 20 points? Are you kidding me? That's great. Josh Allen did his thing against this team. Baker Mayfield had no turnovers, 18 points. And then Brock Purdy also had a 20-point game. You can definitely perform against this defense right now. They are struggling with a lot of difficult injuries in their secondary. It was really funny last time out to see Jameis Winston say, "I'm praying the Lord delivers me from these pick sixes." Jameis, hey, brother, I just want to let you know, we love it. We don't care. Keep slanging that thing 50 times a game, as much as you want to. And if you look at Chiefs defense against tight ends, George Kittle had 92 yards. Cade Otton had over 21 points. Brock Bowers had over 30-point game. And the good news for the sake of game script is the Browns are underdogs, and they're likely going to have to throw the ball deep into the third and fourth quarter, right? Currently 4.5-point dogs. I think they will end the week higher. than that. But, that just is a great sign. I mean, I don't think we think of a single game Jameis has started for the Browns where they've been up at the half. I don't see that changing. They're constantly going to have to throw the ball. It's why Nick Chubb is completely useless on this team right now, and outside of him kind of being a little toast. But yeah, I'm so excited to see Jameson and Njoku do their thing. I think they're in a little bit of a mind meld right now, and Njoku's always being looked for in the red zone, in the end zone. I'm predicting, again, 300 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and a top 12 quarterback finish for Jameis. And for Njoku, 10 targets, 100 yards, and the tight end 1 overall finish. Is that hot enough for you? All right? If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. All right, 5th player. We're starting with confidence here. Rico Dowdle. That's right. I'm telling you to start a Dallas Cowboys running back in the year 2024. Well, Rico Dowdle faces the Carolina Panthers, the 3rd best matchup for your running back. We've seen every single running back go off against this team this year, right? Chase Brown did his thing. You can see the stats on the screen. My editor will put it up there. DeAndre Swift did his thing. Bijan Robinson went crazy. 2 tuds. Tyler Algier in the same game, almost 20 points. Bucky Irving had one of his best days ever as a pro. Alvin Kamara, 2 times, double times. The Slim Reaper himself, 22 points against his team. The point is, it's a free-for-all. Hey, you want some? It's like a Call of Duty lobby, but it's all bots at this point, all right? The Panthers defense is top 2 or number 1 in rushing yards allowed per game, total yards allowed per game, and total points given up per game. They're the only team that's almost at that 30-point mark per game. I'm predicting 20 touches for Rico Dowdle, 100+ all-purpose yards, and 17 PPR points. All right, the 6th player, we are starting with some confidence here. And, he slowly but surely built up that confidence again. And now with your playoff hopes on the line, this is exactly what you've been waiting to see from him. Tyreek Hill. Let's start up Tyreek Hill with some confidence this week, yeah? Let's say, you know what? That's the Reek I drafted. All right, Houston, 7th best matchup for your wide receiver. I love this matchup, and we'll talk about it. But you can see the Texans defense against wide receivers this year. Both Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams had over 22 points. Garrett Wilson had a 30 bomb. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 18 points. CeeDee Lamb, recently had over 18.5 points. It's a really healthy over-under in this matchup against the Texans. A 47.5 point over-under. I would not be surprised if this game gets up there in the 50s. We could see both teams scoring, somewhere around, 28 points worth of points, whether it's field goals, extra points, whatever the case may be, touchdowns. But I'm predicting Tyreek Hill to be a big part of this game. 9 targets. He's at least that in the last 2 games. 80 yards, a touchdown, 17+ PPR points for your boy Tyreek. All right, moving on. How about a little BRob? All right. BRob in week 15 with your playoff hopes on line. Well, the good news is he has the New Orleans Saints, the 2nd best matchup for your running back this year. Bucky Irving had his day, against the Saints. Sean Tucker in the same game. You guys remember the Sean Tucker game? He had almost 200 total yards, almost 10 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns, 34 points. Javonte Williams, yes. The ever unreliable Javonte Williams had his best day as a pro against this team. Chuba Hubbard had a great day. Bijan Robinson had a great day. The Saints defense this year, they give up the highest yards per rush at 5 yards per rush. They give up the 8th most rushing yards per game, and they give up the 3rd most total yards per game to opposing offenses. Washington right now are 7.5 point favorites. That's the 2nd largest spread of the week. We definitely can see a scenario here where the Commanders are able to establish the run, not only in the 1st, 2nd quarter, but also in the 3rd and 4th quarter, deep into that game where, let's say, if they're up by a touchdown, they want to kind of hold that lead. They want to run the clock out. That's great to see for a guy like Brian Robinson. This team also has the 7th highest implied team point total on the week with 25 points. No Austin Eckler. Okay, that's great to see. We're going to get more opportunities through the air. I'm predicting 18 touches, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I'm predicting 2 touchdowns for BRob against the Saints, 20+ PPR points. All right, moving on. We've got our 8th player on the video, DJ Moore. DJ Moore at the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota is the 6th best matchup for your wide receiver. Now, you'll remember, on this video last week, we told you to start Darnell Mooney with confidence. I'm going to tell you to do the same thing this week with DJ Moore. Amon-Ra went off against his team. Puka Nacua, back from injury, went off against his team. Both DJ Moore and Keenan Allen already had a good game against his team. Remember, DJ Moore already had a game, 7 catches, 106 yards, and a touchdown against his team. Marvin Harrison had a good day against his team and how inconsistent he's been. And then, of course, like we said last week, we told you to start Darnell Mooney. He has 20 PPR points. Great to see. We've been preaching this all year, but you don't attack Minnesota on the ground. It might not be a good day for DeAndre Swift. You attack them through the air. They give up the 4th most passing yards per game, and they allow the 2nd fewest rushing yards per game. And the Bears are big time underdogs. Rightfully so, right? Let's put some respect on the Minnesota Vikings. They've been a great team this year, but they are a full touchdown underdog. So we should see this team needing to throw the ball all the way into like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, 2-minute drive. They should be throwing the ball. I'm predicting DJ Moore to have 9 targets, 100 yards, and 15 plus PPR points. All right, moving on. How about David Montgomery? The last time we had David Montgomery on this series, he scored over 2 touchdowns, 100 all-purpose yards. We're going back to him, baby, all right? He faces the Buffalo Bills, the 8th best matchup for your running back this year. You know, you can see this year, for example, Derrick Henry had over 200 yards and 2 tuds. Great. Daria Gumbawale, in replace of Joe Mixon, had a fine day. Breece Hall had one of his best days this year. Kyron Williams, just recently, last week, had 2 touchdowns, almost 24 PPR points. And Devon Achane in 2 games this year, over 32 points in both of those games. The Buffalo Bills defense is giving up the 7th highest yards per carry. And this is the highest over-under I have seen, not this week, this entire year. 53.5 point over-under. And it makes sense because you got the Bills, who put up a shit ton of points. You got the Lions, maybe the best offense in the entire NFL. These 2 Giants, these 2 Titans clashing, and it's the closest spread of the week as well at 1.5 points. I don't see a scenario where David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs are ruled out of this game. I'm very excited about David Montgomery. The Lions have the 2nd highest implied team point total on the week with 28 points. We're expecting at least 15 attempts, 80 rushing yards, and a touchdown for David Montgomery. And the last player on the video, I can't promise you he's going to start, so we'll have to monitor that. But if he starts, I'm putting him into my lineup with confidence. Lad, the space creator, McConkey. All right, the Tampa Bay Bucks, 2nd best matchup for your wide receiver. In the last couple of weeks, Darnell Mooney had 18 points. DeAndre Hopkins had his best day as a Chief. Juwan Jennings had over 93 yards. Adam Thielen recently over 23 PPR points. On the season, this team is top 5 in passing yards and total yards allowed per game. It was so obvious last week that this team missed Lad McConkey. They missed Lad McConkey desperately against the Chiefs. They might have won that game with him. I'm predicting at least 7 catches, 80 yards, and 17 plus PPR points in a game where, you know, you kind of need to keep winning. LA does to stay in this division. Well, the division is out of the case, more the wild card race. All right, I appreciate y'all for watching the video. Do me a favor, hit that like button, show some love. Subscribe if you like the content. Now, you can check out the pinned comment. If you have any question for me, you can reach me on our website. I'm there. I'm here to help you. And if you don't have a free account on that website just yet, when you go to that website, sign up with the promo code LAND, L-A-N-D. And when you do, you get the My Team feature, the expert consensus rankings, and the trade calculator features for free, just as a thank you from us by using our code. I appreciate you for watching the video. I'll see you in the next video. Bus video will be out tomorrow. Good luck this week. You know, I know a lot of our playoff hopes are on the line. You got this, all right? Go into this week with some confidence. All right, spread that confidence into the locker room. You got this. Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, L-A-N-D, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.